Welcome to Comics League Dark. I'm Jared. I'm here with Nick from the Phoenix Press. What's up, brother?
Oh, so much, my friend, so much.
Yes. So today we have a pretty good show lined up for y'all tonight. So let's get started. Our topics for this evening, and granted, this is subject to change. As you guys know, I like to add in a few curveballs every now and then. So we're going to talk about Steve Trevor finally dying like the useless bitch he is, the Mandalorian movie, and Marvel's legacy of animation. So what shall we discuss first?
I think you're chomping at the bit to lay to rest your least favorite person.
No. My least favorite person is still alive, and her name is Lois Lane. This is my second least favorite person.
Well, then I stand corrected.
So, yeah, okay. And by the way, so yeah, Steve Trevor's dying in DC Comics. And this was my reaction, and Britt could tell you because she was in the group chat. Here's my reaction. First off, hello, JJheat. You literally showed up in the middle of the clip. And you're muted, brother. I can't hear you. And Ashton says it won't last. Atchison, let me enjoy it while I have it. Let me enjoy him in the ground.
Hello, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes. Particularly, JJheat, isn't it kind of funny how... So, Nick, do you know how Steve Trevor died? Sovereign just shot him in the chest once.
He died as he lived. Pathetically.
Yes, exactly. The pathetic stalker he is. Now, here's the thing.
Wait, before you go further, JJheat, Mazda.
Yeah, there you go. So JJheat, my friend Jed and Britt and I were talking about this in the chat and in the Super Wonder chat we have. But one of the things that Jed brought up is that, okay, they're killing him. And I'm like, see, here's the thing. This is not the George Perez Steve Trevor that everyone likes. This is not the post-credit the post-crisis Steve Trevor. This is the stalker from the New 52 that emotionally manipulates Wonder Woman. So, excuse me if I'm going to be very happy that this guy got shot in the chest. Comic book character
Steve
YouTube.
Is dead with Steve, the wicked Steve.
Let him have his moment. Jared,
and by the way, YouTube, I'm talking about a fictional character. I'm not talking about an actual person.
Play the clip.
We'll be clear on that. Yeah, I have to play that clip. Yeah. Okay, here we go. YouTube, this is what I'm talking about.
Okay, they're talking about fictional characters. Fictional characters.
Yeah, Tevia, what happened is that there was a preview for the next issue of Tom King's Wonder Woman, and Steve Trevor gets shot and killed in the issue. And you know how I know he's dead? The Sovereign literally says, we killed Steve Trevor. And this is the future Sovereign, because the way they frame this is like the Sovereign, who's supposed to be Wonder Woman's Joker, is telling the story to Wonder Woman's daughter, and Tevia, this takes place after Absolute Power.
Now, Sovereign being overhyped aside, I just feel like this Trinity, Sovereign, all of it, the moment the Sovereign arc wraps up, all these aspects are going to get shelved.
Yep. The minute Tom King leaves the book, which honestly, the Wonder Woman book has been selling so bad. Here's my prediction. This may be a Jared prediction. I'm not as confident yet. But my prediction is that they're just going to wait until the Sovereign story ends in 4 issues and then crank it and say, we're done.
All right, everyone clip this. And when Jared is eventually proved right, we can go back to this.
Yes, exactly. I will play this on Legacy. And then, but that's the thing. See, here's the thing. Steve Trevor is actually an important character to Wonder Woman's lore, unlike Lois Lane. But anyway, I had to say that because here's the thing. When you think about it, him crashing on the island is the call to action that brings her to man's world. So he actually serves a vital purpose in every version of the character. Now, the problem with the way Steve Trevor was portrayed after that is he's just there. Britt, I love Britt, by the way. Yeah, hang on. And hang on. Let's see. Here we go.
He's back.
Yes, but Britt, the emotionally manipulative a-hole is in the ground. Be happy about that, at least. See, I'm trying to keep Britt positive. Go ahead, Nick.
So instead of Wonder Woman eating rats, the rats can now eat Steve Trevor.
Never change, Nick. Never change.
That is great, dude. Oh my god.
In common parlance, we call that justice.
Yes, that is poetic justice. If ever I saw it, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
Oh god.
Yeah, but see, here's
okay,
the thing.
Lucas.
Yes, thank you. See, here's the thing about Steve. Again, I wanted to like Steve when I first got into comics because, as you guys know, I'm a military nerd, and he's in the military and stuff. And when you think about it, it should work because it's like he's a soldier, but she will also spend time as the god of war. So that would actually be a really cool aspect to exploring the relationship and the tension that places on it. The problem is none of the writers are smart enough to write that. It's mostly, Steve gets saved by Wonder Woman, or in the most recent Absolute Power tie-in, Nick. So this is what happens. So Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor and Damian are trying to, I think it was like rescue some people from a prison. Right, JJheat, was that their part of the story?
Pretty much.
Power? So the most recent issue is just her making out with Steve Trevor as there's a battle going on around her.
What?
And then she is shot by a bullet, which is fine because she's one of the heroes that are depowered. And then Steve Trevor's like holding her like a damsel in distress.
Making out is what you do after the battle.
Yeah,
well,
after the battle. And even Damian is
together.
Like, oh, God.
They're setting these up together for the big gut punch in issue 14. It's mostly done for setup. Like, come on.
But the funny part is that's not even a gut punch because the Wonder Woman fandom is like, yes! Yes! I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if... Tom King went into the Wonder Woman run trying to make people like Steve Trevor, but then DC editorial told him, this isn't working, kill him. Off with his head. That's honestly...
Say what you will about DC editorial. Steve Trevor hasn't really done anything of significance, I'd argue, since New 52. Since the New 52 relaunch.
Yeah, because in the New 52, what he did was... he, along with Amanda Waller, formed the Justice League of America, which is a team and counter the Justice League. At least he did something there besides stalking Wonder Woman. In this one, remember that page I always share of him going, I can't, of him saying, I can't put all myself in the relationship when I get so little back in return. And I'm like,
you're in a relationship with one of the most proliferal and arguably attractive superheroines, and not only in DC but in comics in general. Take the win. The fact that she's not cheating on you is a win in of itself.
Well, here's the thing. Not only that, you're a Navy SEAL / Marine / whatever they put you in. If anyone understands or should understand the whole idea of putting your life on hold to save lives, it's you.
Wait, I thought he was Air Force.
So here's the
he's whatever branch DC wants to put him in.
JJheat, it's hilarious. He was Air Force in New 52. Rebirth, he was Navy SEAL. Tom King, he's a Marine.
So they never established what official branch he is? It just depends on the writer?
It depends on the writer.
Okay.
Honestly, if I were writing Wonder Woman, I would Grant Morrison it. And what I mean by that is because Grant Morrison in his Batman run tried to make everything one continuity. So I would make it where he was just touring the U.S. Armed Forces, so he kept transferring branches.
I mean, remember in Wonder Woman, the movie, he was UK intelligence.
Well, he was an American spy attached to UK intelligence. There's a difference there.
But still, I mean, the CIA was like 50 years away, but that's essentially what he was. So
yeah, but okay, Tevia, how do you know that idea failed though? Killing Alfred. How were you? Because let me be clear on this. You not liking the idea does not mean the idea failed. You're allowed to not like it, first off, because I don't like it. But no. I'm not going to say the idea failed. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Say what you will about the whole Alfred's death, the 5G setup. Was it in poor taste? Yes. Was an editorial mandate gone horribly wrong? Absolutely. No one's refuting that. But with the character development for certain characters, the shift in status quo, you can make an argument that it did work for the most part. Because if it quote unquote failed, like you're alluding to, Alfred would have been brought back like next week. It's been 5 years.
And here's the difference between Alfred and Steve Trevor and JJheat. You actually touched on this. Steve Trevor serves zero purpose. See, here's the thing. I just said that Steve Trevor serves a very vital purpose for Wonder Woman. His usefulness to her story, unless you're talking about the George Perez run, ends as soon as she steps foot in man's world. That's it. Yeah. It's done.
And with Alfred is arguably a cornerstone of the Bat family.
He's arguably... He's the most important Bat family member because when you think about it, him raising Bruce is partly why he showed up in some way normal.
And he's basically affected the lives of every Bat family member. Like his death affects like at least 30 separate characters. Because like you got to remember, like for example, Jason Todd, like Alfred was really good to him when he was Robin.
And in fact, Nick, in the current Batman and Robin story, they basically did this thing where Damian is flashing back to like his life from when he showed up in Son of Batman to now. And you see throughout it, even though he had friction with Batman, Alfred was always there to be like a surrogate father for him and kind of tell him, you're loved here, by the way. So it's like when you see how particularly when it's because of Damian that Alfred got killed in the first place. So he always has a little bit of that guilt. That's a good story.
I swear, if I had a nickel for every time Damian has accidentally gotten a member of the Bat family killed, I'd have 2 nickels. But it's weird that it's happened twice.
Well, one was an operation gone bad. The other is an Elseworld where he threw a tantrum and threw a baton at his brother. But that's besides the point.
Well, my point is they're both like he accidentally led to the death of people. That's where I was getting at.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, speaking of killing his brother, isn't it kind of funny how they somehow gave Steve Trevor a death on par with the Nightwing death? He just gets shot.
It just comes out of nowhere.
It just comes out of nowhere. He's just shot while he's sitting on a couch. He's not even standing up. I'm like, thank you. I'm going to give kudos to Tom King. Steve has always been written as whiny about Diana not giving him attention. King saying Perez is the definitive run, yet being the total opposite of that run is funny. Yeah, this is my thing, Nick. So first off, Tom King says that like the bases for his run are the Perez run and Gal Gadot. And I'm like, that's an insult to Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman.
In my neck of the woods, we call that paying lip service.
I'm sure it's paying lip service because here's
low-hanging fruit. I mean, I can't even imagine. Now, granted, Wonder Woman has not had the best run. Granted, Perez's peak, arguably one of the best of all time. But since then, she has not had anywhere near close to the same level of quality. But I would not admit that Gal...
She's had good runs.
She has, but
like Amazon's Attack.
Oh, you cut me off at the pass.
I knew you were gonna do that, Nick. I knew you were gonna do that. But no, but
you cut me off at Thermopylae.
There you go. But actually, seriously, she has had some good runs. Were they well known enough for people to acknowledge them as good runs? No, absolutely not.
Like for example, I want to give some love to Bill Messer-Loeb's Wonder Woman run.
That one, I read an issue of that. That was kind of weird because it's like she works at a fast food joint to connect to humanity.
It's a little over the top.
I'm sorry, I don't like that idea.
I don't know. I feel like you do in context. Also, Bill's a friend of mine, so I'm kind of obligated to defend his run.
Well, nothing against Bill as a guy. It's I just didn't like that portion of the run.
You don't. I mean, yeah, you're. It's not I'm not liking it, but just know I'm going to defend it.
Yeah, you know, Rucka. See, the first Rucka run was okay to good at times. The Rebirth run, isn't worth the toilet paper it's printed on. Because Nick. Did you know that? So Nick, I'm basically in the new 52. I'm going to say 3 people have definitely been to the island. All right, you ready? Superman, Deathstroke, and Wonder Woman. Okay, the reason you're gonna know why I said that right now. At the end of Volume 1 of Rebirth Wonder Woman, it's revealed that this has all been an illusion. She's never been back to Paradise Island. So I'm like, what about Superman and Deathstroke that literally stepped foot on the island?
Wait, wasn't Deathstroke's first arc was the God Killer sword? Wasn't that like the first arc of his book?
No. The first arc was when I think he was hired to kill Lobo. Look this way. That was the second arc of the run by Tony Daniel, because remember, they relaunched that book. But yes, he went to the island. He killed a Titan on the island. That's the thing that I really don't get. And I'm like,
Nemo.
Yeah, hey, what's up, Nemo? And actually, other than Perez, the only Wonder Woman run I enjoy are Burns and Azzarello. Well, Byrne was more of the I want Superman to kiss 14-year-old girls, so there is that.
Yeah, I was about to say, isn't Burns kind of like banned on the
As for the Azzarello, the New 52 run was fine. It just felt a little too close to a certain video game franchise, but we're not going to go into that.
Well, here's the thing. When you look at the way the Amazons were portrayed in that run, that's the way they actually were. That's the mythologically accurate Amazons. And I get that people didn't necessarily like that. My problem with that argument is when they critique other portions of it and then say, that's not mythologically accurate. Well, you also bash the Amazons capturing people to get pregnant.
Oh, God. Okay, I need to say something real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
There is a crossover that I desperately want to see. Wonder Woman and Kratos.
Oh, yeah, that'll be dope. Are you kidding me?
2 words. God Killer. You're welcome.
No. I just want to see an art of Wonder Woman wielding the Blades of Chaos.
JJheat, have you seen Twilight of the Gods?
Yes, I have.
Tell me you didn't get like God Killer 1 and 2 vibes from what we did with Thor Against the Justice. I was like, oh God, that's why JJheat was laughing when we talked about mythologically accurate Thor. Oh God. So we did a thing in our like New Direction versus Nick where mythologically accurate Thor showed up and bodied the Justice League. And when you figure out how powerful mythologically accurate Thor is, it makes MCU Thor look like a child.
This isn't even a fight. It's a curb stomp.
We had him tear Hawkgirl's wings off.
Ow. You don't do that.
And tear Barry's legs off.
Oh, God dang.
There's no way. See, here's the thing. This would only happen if we were DC editorial and we could somehow make this work.
Oh, they would never let us do this.
But it's the Meredith Finch run after Azzarello was... No, I like that run. I don't like the Donna Troy part, but I do like a lot of the other storylines that they did with that. But yeah, so my point bringing that up is that if you want to see where JJheat and I were basing mythologically accurate Thor, just watch that show. That's all you got to watch. That's all you got to watch. But anyway, back to this. You see, and also, Batman has been to Themyscira in the New 52. So again, twice. So again, and then guess what, Nick? Then Steve Trevor puts Wonder Woman in a mental asylum.
Wait. How does that even work?
So what happens is Wonder Woman has a mental break because she can't process that she's never been home. And then the next run starts. She's talking to like a bird or something like that, and she's in a mental asylum in a straitjacket.
What?
Yeah, and it was at that point that I'm like, okay, this is why I say, okay, the first Wonder Woman run by Rucka, and I mean the post-crisis run, that was actually pretty good. But the Rebirth one is arguably a travesty.
Rucka's definitely fallen off in age. I'll be the first to admit that.
And then, you know how you know that, Nick? Literally the arc after he got on after he left the book was actually pretty freaking great. It's called, because I have it, it's called Heart of the Amazon. and it deals with a lot of like Wonder Woman's childhood and stuff. So it's a little more fun with that. But it's kind of funny. And then Rucka would go on to write that Lois Lane book that I took a picture of, giving it the finger. And guess what? That book flopped as well. So maybe Greg Rucka is not the best.
Yeah,
but and that's my issue, because it's like, and that's the point. It's like, so that then we have like the Steve Orlando run for Wonder Woman was good. Willow Wilson was good. So there have been good Wonder Woman runs. The problem is they've been too short, so people don't really count them as runs. They really count them as just some stories. So they say, oh yeah, Wonder Woman's had some pretty good stories, but I'm like, no, those are actual runs. That's it. It's really it's sad, because like I said on Legacy many times, for one of the pillars of DC, at least according to DC, they should put more effort into who writes Wonder Woman.
Yeah, like it shouldn't be a training book.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's Nick and I know someone that used to edit at DC, and she told us that they use Wonder Woman as a book for junior editors so they can practice editing a book before they move them on a higher priority book. It's like Wonder Woman was never a priority for DC. Okay, so let's see. Imagine Wonder Woman fighting some of the world's deadliest assassins, the Suicide Squad led by Amanda Waller and Grail. Deadshot, Grail, Deathstroke, and New Villain. Oh, that actually would work. Now, actually, Purge had a fantastic idea for, here's the first way you get Wonder Woman to to new heights. What you do is you do a storyline like Batman Hush, in that it's a storyline that basically tours her universe, and you see like all of her villains and such, all of her world, and then you can bring in other DC characters like Superman, especially Superman, and basically, because the problem with writing Wonder Woman, and actually Sam backed this up when he talked about doing Wonder Woman animation, not a lot of people know about her world.
Yeah, like I think most people just know the broad strokes, like the Mascara, Hippolyta, maybe Cheetah, and Ares at best.
And maybe Cersei or like Giganta, but it's mostly because of the Super Friends. No one knows who Grail is. Let me put it to you that way. But it's like if you did a book or like a storyline or even a movie that's just touring her universe, or this is where an animated series would be great. Jeez, this would be perfect for a freaking animated series. Just every episode is her touring the universe. You see a different part of her day. But no, that's only reserved for the other characters.
I think we all can agree. Wonder Woman desperately needs a she needs her own BTAS, essentially.
Yes, she does. And also, it's like, when you consider the fact that like Green Lantern had an animated series before Wonder Woman, Harley frickin' Quinn got one, and arguably it was a travesty.
Jared, how would you feel if the next okay, I'm going to give you your dream thing, okay? So DC Animation does a Wonder Woman movie, and then they cast Jennifer Hale to voice Wonder Woman.
See,
that's an Emmy right there.
That's not my dream scenario, because here's why.
Okay.
And Britt and I talked about this as well. I'm at the point where I can't hear Wonder Woman's voice without an accent.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing.
I see where
he comes from a Mediterranean island. Her having an American accent is just weird at this point.
Okay, then in this Wonder Woman movie, who would you cast Jennifer Hale as?
Well, she could play Cersei.
Okay.
Bit of a stretch, but she could pull it off.
You know who honestly, I would pick to voice Wonder Woman? The woman who voiced her in the Tomorrowverse, because say what you want about the other stuff, I like that accent for her.
I'll give you that.
Britt says they aren't trying to get to know her world, especially when they don't know how to explore her feminist themes correctly. Yeah, because here's the problem. When you're trying to... Because Wonder Woman is the book where you would do that. It's just when modern writers try and explore the feminist memes, it comes off as man-bashing. a la a certain movie that we're going to watch next week. Actually, you know what? This is a fantastic idea. This is a fantastic transition. So we're not going to watch Twilight because here's why. It's not available for free on streaming or like free in terms of like any of the streaming services that I have. And I'm not going to spend money or I'm not going to go. It's not worth the effort to pirate. And it's not worth the probably $5 to watch it. So we're not going to do Twilight. We're going to skip. But next week, Wonder Woman 1984. So
where they bashed Steve Trevor. No, not Steve Trevor. Where they bashed Maxwell Lord. But okay, yeah.
And Steve Trevor, as a matter of fact.
Oh, Jared. So I've been playing some Horizon Zero Dawn lately, and honestly, the voice actor for Aloy, Ashley Birch, I think she could play a good Wonder Woman. Again,
does she have an accent that sounds like she's from Greece or the adjoining area?
No, but she's a fairly well-known actor.
No, I know she's well-known. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying at least in my mind at this point, Wonder Woman can't not have an accent, or at least the accent from that area. So that's the one time where the hailstorm would not happen. So will Steve Trevor be in the absolute universe? Yes, they did confirm that. Now, to the degree, to what degree, I don't know. Isn't it similar to Green Arrow and his politics really important as character? Yes, but it's the way you can have politics be a part of the character. It's the way that you express it that it's the problem. Because if you express it too over your beating you over the head, guess what? You're gonna turn off the audience.
Well, and the thing about the Green Arrow is he has a very specific set of politics, and I think Justice League kind of explains it really well. He's an old school liberal, old school lefty, and that's kind of it has a very particular set of connotations, and I'm going to leave it at that because anything more and we're going too far in the weeds.
Well, and even with that, they did books like Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Hard Traveling Heroes. That was a very political book, but they showed both sides of the viewpoint. That's what you could do. It's just,
my God, Speedy, you're a junkie.
Yeah. It's just, here's the problem: is that when you have modern writers like Tom King showing both sides of the argument, they show the other side in the worst possible light. So they're really saying, "See, aren't these people stupid?" So I'm like, that's not doing what you think you're doing. First off, Tom King, stop trying to be Alan Moore. Alan Moore does not want to be Alan Moore at this point. So why don't you just stop trying to be a better writer and just be a writer? How's that? Be a writer.
He's not even a good writer. What makes you think you can be a great writer?
No, I just said a writer. I didn't even put a qualifier before it. There you go. But and that gets into my point with Steve Trevor, is that Tom King basically used it. See, here's the thing. And Britt and I theorized that Tom King really wanted to write Steve Trevor and not Wonder Woman, because most of the run, and JJheat, tell me if I'm wrong, is mostly focused on Steve Trevor.
Pretty much. And I'm sorry, I had to, and I already promoted this on X the other day. I just finished recording my reaction to the Velma Halloween specials.
Oh, you poor soul. You poor soul. Oh, why do you do this? Why do you do? Are you trying to break yourself?
280 subscription special.
Isn't it great having consequences? But all right, so I think we've celebrated Steve Trevor's death enough. So let's move on to another topic. So guys want to talk about Mandalorian or Marvel animation?
We'll start with Mandalorian. Wait, Mandalorian's getting canceled?
Kind of.
Effectively, it has.
Because, all right, so what happened was it came out that there's not going to be a season 4 of Mando. It's just going to be movies from here on out. Reportedly, Favreau has a plan for a trilogy of Mandalorian movies. So it looks like it's just going to be movies and not the show. And from what I've heard, it's because of the fan reception to Mandalorian season 3.
Well, here's the problem. They're already running into this. Is they switched to TV shows because their movies were underperforming. Solo was an outright bomb. Rise of Skywalker underperformed. They saw where their movies were going and they switched to television. It worked for about a minute, and then of course, they went in a bad direction. That's how I'm gonna play it. How I'm gonna say it. And they think, oh, our movies didn't work, so let's go to television. Oh wait, the television don't work. Let's just do movies again. Like I don't get the logic here.
Who said there's logic?
Good point.
Yeah, I know, Nick. You're assuming that there is logic here, but the idea. I mean, let me put it this way: a Mandalorian could work for a movie. I don't doubt that. It's just the motivation behind that I have the issue with. And here's the thing: some of the storylines for Mando season 3 were not that bad. I just wish it was behind a Bo-Katan show. Like if they had said we're gonna do a show for we're gonna take like a break from Mandalorian and do a show that's just Bo-Katan, and that's the show. Hey, great. That's awesome because she's a great character. I like Katie Sackhoff, and you could really develop her character, and because that's kind of what Mando season 3 kind of was when you think about it.
I mean, we did a episode by episode series on it. Yeah, and at the time, did I not say if they literally just would have called this Bo-Katan and not change a single thing, I would be a lot more tolerant of the show. Like I was complaining week to week how Bo-Katan was stealing the spotlight and all this stuff. Yeah, I was not having it. And if they just would have called it Bo-Katan and literally not change a single frame, I would be more apt to defend it. I probably might even liked it, honestly.
Yeah, because here's the problem. The director justified it by saying, well, Mandalorian is like a general term. But I'm like, when people hear Mandalorian, they don't think of... Some do, but most of the time, in this context, they think of the dude in silver armor. Which one say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Him than me.
Season 3 was a relative downgrade, and yes, Bo-Katan definitely needed a redemption arc for being radicalized by Maul and Death Watch, and what led to the death of her sister in Clone Wars. If you want to give Bo-Katan a redemption arc, fine, but don't have her hog half of the season.
That's the problem with Disney Star Wars TV shows at the time. It's like, remember when an entire episode of Book of Boba Fett was just set up for Mando season 3? So it's like,
do you remember how the Mandalorian episode? All right, then on next.
Yeah. It's like, remember, it turned into these shows started to cannibalize each other now. Go ahead, Nick.
Remember how Mandalorian season 3 episode 2 literally was like an entirely different show that had nothing to do with the main plot and literally went nowhere?
Yeah, that's what you think. That's a good point. It literally went nowhere.
Like, okay, they killed the Doctor. Like, okay, we never really cared about him.
Like that the New Republic is not as more or less we think it is. Fine, but it had literally nothing to do. It's like when we were reacting to it, remember, this is after we just saw freaking Mythosaur. And we're like, oh, this is so cool. What are they going to do? Why are we focusing on the Doctor? 40 minutes later. Oh, we're back to Mandalorian. Oh, it's over.
JJheat, get the frick out of this stream.
What do you say? Oh, you mean the teenagers with attitude that Boba Fett recruited?
All right.
As they roll up, they have their Zords.
No. I need to say this. I'm going to try spinning. That's a cool trick.
Someone has to make an edit of them riding on the scooters at high speeds and play the Power Rangers theme like they're in their Zords.
Oh, I know there's at least 5 on YouTube alone.
There's gotta be that. It's just the fact that they each have their own colors that I'm like, oh god, did no one think about this?
Mandalorian, I need you to assemble a group of teenagers on Vespas with attitude.
And can they have cybernetic limbs for no reason? Is that possible?
Not only possible, it is demanded.
Yeah, it was. This is the way.
One of them has to be a goth too. We got to have the goth.
Yeah, it was kind of odd. So I'm like, all right, but
and she wears fishnet for some reason in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, but my point is with it got to the point where entire episodes were just backdoor pilots for other shows, and I'm like, that doesn't work, because what happened in like Mando has nothing to do. You could cut out that Mando episode of Boba Fett and it still works, because Mando just shows up in the next episode, lands. He could be laying there for fuel, and then like Shan says, "Hey, Boba Fett could use some backup. Can you come help us?" Sure. See, that's it.
Well, the thing is, season 2 had those backdoor pilots, but they integrated them better. Like, they had the Ahsoka backdoor pilot, but that was just another step on the journey. Like, okay, meet another Jedi. They had their communication, and he helped her with her problem. That's just a standard Mandalorian problem. But it's also it worked well because they integrated it into the show.
Yeah, it was still part of the plot of the season, but they also used it. That was, but when you get to season 3, these things had little to nothing to do with the actual plot of the season. That's the problem there. And I'm like, if you want to make a Mandalorian episode, don't label it Book of Frickin' Boba Fett then.
Yeah, the problem is, honestly, you sit anyone down and you have them watch that scene where Boba Fett puts on his armor for the first time again, and he does have his stormtroopers, they will tell you, okay, that's Boba Fett. That was awesome. And in Mandalorian, like, okay, he's honoring a promise. Okay, we get that. But they so neutered him so bad in Book of Boba Fett.
To the point where Tamara Morrison is like, can we go back to the badass Boba? Like, remember, he shoots a rocket out of his backpack, hits a transport, and then that transport hits the other transport. I'm like, that's badass.
You're missing the best part.
And
when it says that, he does like the classic, I was aiming for the other one.
Yeah, I love that. That was really cool. Or like in that episode where they have him say, I'm a simple man trying to make his way in the universe. That was cool. But they that's the problem with like a lot of media nowadays. Have you noticed that? They set up really cool stuff and then immediately fart on it.
Well, and I've spoken about this on multiple times. Modern writers write for moments. They don't write for arcs. They have like this cool moment in their head where like, oh, wouldn't it be really cool if like they rise, you got the fire behind them, and they roar and they charge. That'd be so cool, wouldn't it? And they write the story for that moment. It's like, it's kind of writing a story backwards almost.
Well, here's the thing. Mando season 2 is the cameo season. That's pretty much what it is, which I'm fine with, because that's the occasion when they did cameos, but it's still linked to the plot a little bit. Like even with the Luke Skywalker thing, they set that up because he went to the to that little shrine to call out to the Jedi. So it's like, okay, Luke would probably feel that in the Force. But it's like the next season, it's like, what is this? A center for ants? Okay, yeah. You know what? I kind of have to. This is us watching Mandalorian season 3. Are you ready?
What is this?
Derek Zoolander, Center for Kids Who Can't Read.
Well,
good.
The thing that I had never liked is so Din goes to Luke's academy, and Ahsoka is there for some reason. They never say like, "Oh, I'm just hanging around."
Well, it could be that's where we do know from like the sequel trilogy that's where he's rebuilding the Order. So it makes
Jedi
sense.
Praxium.
Yeah, so it makes sense that like he probably sent out a call to all the Jedi and said, "Hey, come here."
Well, there's got to be more Jedi. We know for a fact there's more Jedi than that in the universe at that point.
That's the funny part. That's the stupid part about that scene from Episode 3. As emotional as that is, when you realize how many Jedi actually survived Order 66, that scene loses its impact immediately.
Yeah, like for example, apparently Cal Kestis is getting his own live action series.
Yes, but it's like But
I hope they have budget for all the ponchos.
Exactly. If they have a poncho liner. But and then I'll get to you, JJheat. My point is like when you're watching episode 3, they make it sound like the entire Jedi Order is destroyed. And then when you do like Force Unleashed, when you read the books, both canon and legend, when you realize how many Jedi actually survived Order 66, I'm like, that did practically nothing.
I'm going to push back a little bit. In the Legends, not like there were still very few Jedi who did kind of survive, but in the Disney canon, it's like hundreds of different Jedi survives to the point where they need to like have an inquisitorial order to hunt down the rogue Jedi. The Inquisitors never existed in Legends.
And by the way, say what you want about Disney canon, that was actually cool that they added that in there. And it's made of Fallen Jedi. I actually like that. But what do you want to say, JJheat?
Yeah, nice touch. But I just feel like Mando season 3 was a relative downgrade. Like again, Bo-Katan having a redemption arc, that's fine. I just feel like if you weren't going to have it in Clone Wars season 7 or directly adapt Revenge of the Sith in Clone Wars, either keep it in a novel or don't adapt it at all. Yeah. You could just have Bo-Katan feel remorseful and reflect over what happened and not take away too much spotlight. Actions speak louder than words.
Or hey, JJheat, there's a magical medium that Star Wars has been in for so many years. It's really weird. It's called a comic book. It's not like Star Wars doesn't have a long history of great comic books.
They made the Dark Horse line, believe it or not.
Or can I cook, please?
Yes, please.
So you know how like they say there's no good like female protagonist in video games?
I see what you're doing there. That could be fun.
Dude, you don't know the half of it. So what you do is you say, "Hey, Amy Hennig, how you doing, girl? We hear you make really good really good on." So I was thinking, you know that Project Ragtag? We're going to revive it, but we want it to be a Bo-Katan project. Can you do that for us? You can, and you're actually really excited? Cool. Here's $1 billion. Have fun, girl.
There you go. There you go. That's how that's another medium. And Nick, I didn't think about that. That's another medium you could use. The point is, there are other ways to do a Bo-Katan story. You could still do the redemption story, but not hoard it on a Mando.
I mean, hell, even if you do it like kind of like a Jedi Fallen Order style kind of thing, or like there's tons of ways to do a Bo-Katan video game. Plus, I'm sure Katie Sackhoff would be more than happy to lend her likeness and her voice to that game. I mean,
regardless, here's the thing. Going back to TV, they could have. Here's the thing: if they had done it more of an equal thing, where like for season 3, Bo-Katan is like the co-lead of Mandalorian, but it's still mostly about Din and Grogu, I wouldn't have had that much of a problem because they've had occasions where like another character shows up for a season and sticks with them the entire season. That's fine. Plus, she's Mandalorian, so it does kind of fit in the titling. But my problem is the focus was too much on her and not enough on the Mandalorian that everyone thinks of.
Yeah, I just think they should have called it Bo-Katan. There were some story elements that I thought were a bit sus. Like, the way that she earned the Darksaber was... Can I say the A word? Can I drop the A-bomb?
Yeah, go ahead.
It was such an asshole. It was such a freaking asshole. I'm sorry.
Or how about, like, any scene with Jack Black and Lizzo?
Yeah, the celebrity cameos didn't do this season.
I memory hold. I will say, Christopher Lloyd was good.
Yeah, he was good because he was a separatist and he made the reference to Dooku. I was like, oh, wow, I like this. This is cool.
Well, here's the thing about Christopher Lloyd. Christopher Lloyd actually acted. He actually played a character.
Yeah, and Jack Black was just Jack Black. So I'm just
with funny mustache.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is like the worst episode. That was my least favorite episode of season 3. At least the stuff on Mandalore actually culminated in a battle. So I'm like, at least there was something cool there.
My thing was, so you had You had Bo-Katan getting back in touch with like Death Watch, and so she got special permission to remove her helmet for no reason.
That too, yeah. No, it was because, well, we have to embrace the new ways and support the. I'm like, no, that doesn't work. Although I will say the episode where the Mandalorians are moving like a military unit, it's like a war movie. I also really like that part. See, there were good parts of season 3, just not enough to completely save the season. That's the thing. So I
like the stuff with like Grogu become like learning more to become a Mandalorian, where he had like the challenge. Like, it was kind of cute. I liked it.
That was kind of cool. And Tevia, we just brought up a Mandalorian game. It's called the Bo-Katan game. And Nick just brought that up.
But the biggest problem with season 3 is Grogu has like 2 moments in the entire season 3. Otherwise, he's window dressing the entire time.
Because he's kind of become like the face of that show, kind of.
Mascot, if you will. He does get a droid mech, and I believe episode 2. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know we reacted on this like 3 years ago.
It's made out of the It's made out of the hollowed out shell of Taika Waititi, which honestly there wasn't really much. No, I gotta finish my joke. There wasn't really much brain matter there to begin with, so they didn't have to do much work.
Well, at least Jar Jar's actor got a chance to redeem himself. So
yeah, he was a badass. That's the thing. He was a badass.
And that's another thing. Yes, it's Ahmed Best, it's Jar Jar, but like it worked. Like, okay, was the whole sequence a bit unnecessary? Yeah, but at least it's part of the story.
Yeah, because essentially they put a cameo in a part that we've wondered, how did Grogu get out of the temple? By the way, that was the first time we actually had clone troopers in suits instead of like CGI clone troopers. I thought that was kind of cool too. We're at that point.
The practical was a nice touch.
Yeah, that was nice. Even though I would argue most of the clone troopers in the prequel movies actually look pretty good past episode 2. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's not as noticeable CGI, okay. I think.
Jared, I have a question for you. It's a bit of a tangent, but it's pretty quick.
It works.
Okay, if you could have a suit of replica stormtrooper, clone trooper, armor made, what would you have made?
Clone Commando.
Okay, that was easy.
100% Clone Commando, because anyone that's played Republic Commando knows that. And I would make it, I would have a speaker in the backpack where every time I walk, it plays the Republic Commando theme.
So, you know what would be a cool project for you? What if you had a clone Commando, but you painted it like Master Chief?
That would kind of work. You can kind of do that in the game because you can paint it in like a like jungle camo, and it looks like that pretty much. But that is a fantastic Star Wars game.
Oh, by the way, my answer is probably a Purge Trooper. I love their armor.
Purge Troopers look cool. I have a theory that they're actually just droids because I'm sorry, those are Dark Troopers. Purge Troopers are really cool. I like those. Those are actually really cool.
Purge Troopers. They use like the shock staff. I think they're either like low midichlorian Jedi people, or they're just trained or whatever.
They're probably just trained, and they were really, really cool. Or if I have to pick Stormtrooper, honestly, I'm gonna pick either Sand Trooper or you know what, Dark Trooper. Except the Dark Troopers from Battlefront 1, where they have the jump packs. Emperor Luffy. If only we can get rid of John and Lois. There's an easy way to do that, and so the next Superman event is Doomsday. It's there.
Jared, what about a Death Trooper?
You mean the zombies?
No. I think you saw them in Rogue One, and you also saw them in Andor.
Yeah, see, I would, and those look cool. I have a theory that they're actually droids, because have you seen how thin those helmets are?
Unless if I were to choose, like...
Yeah, unless they're all Ki-Adi-Mundi people, I don't see that helmet fitting.
Okay, so for me, if I had to choose like one of the standard Stormtroopers, probably Scout Trooper.
Scout Troopers are cool. I'll give you that. How about you, JJheat?
For me, if I couldn't get Republic Commando, I'd probably go with Scout Troopers as well.
There you go. I like that.
What I like about the Scout Troopers, their helmets look like the Scream mask.
Of course you would. The other trooper armor I would get, that's actually realistic, is Captain Rex.
Then you might as well get the whole 501st if you're going to do that.
Oh, hell yeah.
I love Scout Troopers. I love the helmets of Scout Troopers. So
and then, by the way, all of my armor is going to be painted 501st blue because they're my favorite clone battalion. Anyway, going on.
Oh, you should are you going to try and join your local 501st garrison?
No, I'm not. Tevia asks, speak of stories, if you're able to fix the Acolyte, how do you do it? I haven't watched the Acolyte, nor do I plan to. Or actually, you know what, Tevia? Here's a fantastic way to fix the Acolyte. Don't do it.
Here's what I do. I bring Leslie Hasland in, and I say, all right, so here's your script for Acolyte. I put it onto the ground. I took some lighter fluid, and then I light a match and go whoosh. That's what's happening to it.
Or I say I'm putting it in the script suggestion box, and then as she goes, I go, the power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
And I, oh, by the way, nice shirt, Jared.
Thank you. Go ahead, JJheat.
Let the past die. Kill it if you have to.
Consider it mercy.
And then as Leslie Hasland walks out, she looks wait, it's like, wait, why is Keanu Reeves in this office? And as Keanu Reeves walks in, I say, Keanu, I got this great show for you. Have you ever played Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic?
Yeah, and then I say, oh, you know what? You should meet your co-star. She's going to be playing Bastila Shan. Gal Gadot.
So that's who you cast for Bastila?
Henry Cavill as Candrius Ordo. Because I'm sorry, this is the one occasion where I can't do Super Wonder because there's no one else I could see playing Darth Revan than Keanu Reeves.
Oh, okay. If we're casting KOTOR, Jenna Ortega for Mission Vow.
I don't know. I've never seen her act.
Wednesday.
I've never seen that.
I think she could do it.
It's a stretch, but she could.
No, but the point is, it's like, that's the one time where I can't do Super Wonder because there's literally no one else I could see playing Darth Revan.
Chloe Grace Martinez as Mission.
Yep, I could see that. But anyway, continuing on. Hey, what's up, Cameron? How you doing? A little late, but you're telling me the B word is dead. Yeah, they shot him and Sovereign confirmed he's dead. Now he's not going to last. They're not going to permanently kill him off because of DC, and there are no consequences with DC. But you know what? I'm just going to enjoy it while I have it. I'm just going to enjoy it. Mm-hmm.
I need to say this. The Trevor is dead. Bury it. Consider some mercy.
The Trevor. I love that. All right, let's go to our last.
I had to do that for you.
Let's do our last topic. So we're going to talk about Marvel animation and like our favorite like classic and semi-classic Marvel animation series. So this is like 90s to the Yostverse and all that stuff. So I'll start with like one of my favorites, which is basically JLU, but Marvel, and that's Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Because not only did you have a good version of Carol Danvers, she was voiced by Jennifer Hale.
Of course.
And honestly, they followed the comics really, really closely in terms of storyline, like particularly how the Avengers started with like every other character, and then Cap is like thawed out of the ice. And they did a better version of Secret Invasion than the Secret Invasion show. Because it was actually Secret Invasion. That's what it is. They follow the general plots. Granted, they have a smaller cast, so not everyone that was in Secret Invasion shows up, but it's still, they make it work with what they have. So I'm going to go to Nick. Tell me about some of your favorite pieces of Marvel animation.
Well, talking strictly TV, I got to talk about Spider-Man, the animated series, because I'm old.
Shocker!
The fact they did not have that line in Spider-Man 2 makes
wasted
me mad.
potential.
The Shocker was even in that game. That's the problem. I was like, no.
Like,
it was right there.
I promise you, they were aware of that. There's no situation.
They had Yuri do it at an event too. It's not like he didn't know it.
They just didn't want to use the line. That's really all it boils down to.
I know.
And the worst problem is Yuri was basically playing it like the original STAS animator. Like, if you look at the way he did his voice, he was kind of playing it the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really was. Well, here's the thing. Yuri's Spider-Man is pretty much the STAS. You know what we mean. Spider-Man. So it's actually really cool how you do that. I also think it's kind of funny. I get your criticism, but I think it's funny how like Bodameo was like, I'm gonna I'm gonna get Mary Jane back off screen, and we're never gonna see it.
Yeah, like you completely invalidated the one big hook that you could get for a Spider-Man revival, because literally STAS. By the way, when I say STAS, I'm talking Spider-Man the animated.
Yeah, we know. In this context, you're talking Spider-Man.
Because they don't feel like saying Spider-Man the animated series 5 times. Mm-hmm. It literally ends on a cliffhanger. Like, he's going through the multiverse to find Mary Jane. That was the one part where I was like, "Whoa, come on, man! You just ruined the whole show."
I know. But yeah, so it had that. Oh wait, so we're missing arguably the most important Marvel animated show of the 90s, X-Men the Animated Series. Which was kind of funny when you actually like look at like, it's kind of funny. The animation did these storylines way better because the Phoenix Saga is actually the Phoenix Saga, except Jean doesn't die at the end.
Well, the difference is that like the show actually had time to let it play out.
Oh,
most of this, like, oh, we can do the entire Phoenix Saga in a movie. Like, no, the Phoenix Saga played out over like what, 10 years?
Yes,
of some sort.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so hundreds of issues distilling into a single movie. With a TV show, you at least could let it play out.
And the other thing is, like, even with the continuation, the other characters that got to show up, like My Lady Emma Frost, and I gotta say, the voice that they got for her in the 97, because here's the thing about Emma Frost. You have to have a certain I'm better than you tone in your voice. And they definitely had that in XTAS. So I think that I like that.
Hey,
go ahead.
Jared, how would you react if you found out that for the next season of X-Men 97, they recast Emma Frost with Jennifer Hale?
No, because Jennifer Hale is playing Jean.
She can play another character.
No, I don't want her because I like the girl that's playing Emma Frost.
What do you think of Jennifer Hale as Jean?
That's also I also liked her as Madeline Pryor's the Goblin Queen. Mommy's busy.
That's
yes. Really good. And she goes full Sailor Moon. What do you want to say, JJheat?
Remember the edit I did?
Yeah. There's also that, which. And it was kind of funny when you realize that all these shows are actually the MCU of the 90s because they're all in one continuity.
Also, when you realize that Marvel did the connected animated universe first before DC.
Yeah, that's actually true. So when you think about it, Bruce Timm ripped off Marvel. Except the one thing that Marvel had that puts over Bruce Timm is their main character was not a sexual predator. I have to bring that up. I like.
But what about Magneto in 97?
No. I'm talking about the 90s. In the 90s, JJheat.
Let's hop on our time machine. Let's go. Let's head to the mid 2000s.
To the wee olden times.
I want to talk about some really good direct-to-video movies. Ultimate Avengers 1 and 2.
Oh, hell yes. I was hoping you'd bring that up. Because here's the thing. Ultimate Avengers is legit Ultimates 1 and 2. Pretty much. It is those two books.
Page for page.
Put together. A lot of the stuff, it goes page for page. Like the World War II thing is straight up from that book. And a lot of the, like, Steve waking up and the Avengers stuff and the Chitauri is more the second volume, but they managed to combine those in such a way that I'm like, okay, this is actually really cool. Really,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Well, the other thing I really liked is that those were the first animated movies where I saw blood. Like, they were not holding back with those animated movies. Like, Chitauri get cut in half with that.
Yeah, they were PG. They were 13 plus, if I remember correctly. Those were not TVY7 PG movies.
And they used it really well. And yeah, Cameron. Cameron. I also loved Black Panther in Ultimate Avengers 2. The theme songs in this, it was a legit. It felt like a legit movie. That's the thing about those two movies, particularly. Those felt like actual movies instead of just animated direct to DVD movies, if you know what I mean.
Rise of Ultron was a bit weak, in my opinion.
Rise of Ultron?
Young
Avengers movies. Yeah, that was odd. So, did you guys ever see like those single character movies like Invincible Iron Man and such?
I did.
The Iron Man one is actually pretty cool because when he's in the suit, it's all 3D animation. So it's 3D interacting with 2D animation. So it's actually not that bad. The story's kind of crap, but the overall technical quality of it is good. But again, going back to Ultimates, they also took out in Ultimate Avengers, which I'm happy for, the Giant Man savagely beating Wasp.
Which, fun fact, at least in main continuity, that was an artist mistake.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's quite an artist mistake that has stuck with him forever.
Yeah, if you actually go through the pencils and the actual structure of sketching the page, it wasn't supposed to come out like that. That was literally an artist mistake.
Oh, wow. Well, that's...
Another one of those solo Marvel ones I want to shout out is Doctor Strange.
Yes.
I never saw that one.
It's really good. I remember the behind the scenes stuff. Basically, the directive was they wanted to do stuff in animation that you could never do in live action.
And if you compare it to the MCU version, it's very similar. A few differences here and there, but essentially the same story.
Yeah, it essentially is the same story. Like, they don't have Dormammu in the animation one. The whole, like, my hands are broken, I go to Camotage, I become a sorcerer, essentially.
Kirby brings up a good one. Those Hulk versus movies, like Hulk. I said this was Sam when we had him on for the Q&A. When the minute Wolverine dives on Hulk's back, you see blood come across the screen. I'm like, oh God, this is going hard. And when Deadpool shows up in that and is pretty much Deadpool, go ahead, JJheat.
I gotta say it. The best Marvel animated movie of all time, Planet Hulk. Perfect adaptation.
I was wondering when someone would bring that up.
It's pretty much Planet Hulk right there. I'm like, you know what's kind of funny? I read the book after watching the movie. So when I'm reading the book, I'm like, oh, they nailed it.
The only difference is Beta Ray Bill swaps out Silver Surfer. But other than that, it's a pretty straightforward adaptation.
Which it makes sense. I get that they didn't want to explain who Silver Surfer is or something like that. But I was fine with that one. Oh, yes. And Cameron says Planet Hulk is what we should have gotten in the MCU. I know. You. Like, that should have been the first. Can you imagine if that was the first MCU Hulk movie? Hulk as a gladiator?
Yeah, Universal did nothing with the Hulk
Thanks,
IP.
Taika. Well, Taika also screwed it up because if they didn't have because he could have even done Planet Hulk in Thor Ragnarok. Lord knows it was set up, but he decided to make it a joke. Another person I thought comic.
I mean, he well, the problem is Hulk and Marvel is a kind of a complicated relationship because Universal still has the rights. They're never going to do a solo Hulk movie while Universal still has a finger in the pie.
Well, it's not only that, but I'm saying they could have done it in Thor Ragnarok, like have the basic plot where like Thor's a gladiator, he rules over this planet. I mean, Hulk's a gladiator, he rules over all this planet, and you can have it be like a Hulk Thor buddy cop movie like it was. But the problem is they made it a joke. That's the thing.
Yeah, Planet Hulk adaptation, it could have worked. But again, Universal and Marvel have some bad blood. Universal is going to cling onto the Hulk IP and movie rights for as long as they can. I think they held on to it prior to a few years ago because then the MCU was allowed to start using other characters like She-Hulk. But yeah,
I think they still have a finger in the pie because I don't know. I feel like they'd announce a Hulk movie, but the fact that we have had an explosion of Hulk stuff, like not only that, but like other Hulk characters appearing, like we're getting like Red Hulk, She-Hulk, Scar.
Don't get me started on Scar. She-Hulk screwed that up. Tabby brings up a good one. How about that Punisher Black Widow anime movie? Hell yeah. Those Marvel animes were firing on all cylinders. Like, animes, but they were called animes. The point is, my gosh, were those like amazing. Like you had the Iron Man one, you had the X-Men one. I want to say you had a Wolverine one.
Yes, Wolverine, the X-Men got one, Punisher and Black Widow. And they were made by different studios. And I'm pretty sure there was Captain Marvel got one too, but that might have been a separate project.
Well, I know that they did like a series called like Future Avengers, and the funny part about that series is the Avengers would announce their moves before they did it. Like Thor was like Thunderstrike. Even Captain America, throw. Yeah, it was really, really.
Apparently, they were Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. In a way, it was really stupid in that way. But I was like,
Thor, use Thunderstrike.
Pikachu. Oh, wrong franchise. Please, Nintendo, don't sue me. Okay, Cameron Bailey says, "What do you guys think of Tales of Asgard?" I never watched it, but I heard it was good.
It's all right. It's basically the prologue sequence of Thor 1. The only difference is Loki's a bit more conniving because I'm just sorry. In the MCU version, Thor literally just starts an inter-realm incident because of his own ego. In Tales of Asgard, they're teenagers, they're a bit younger. He's a bit more level-headed. But other than that, it's basically the same scene.
Yep, there you go. What's your guys' opinion on Avengers Assemble being a continuation of Earth's Mightiest Heroes?
Downgrade.
See, here's the problem. So there were some cool storylines in that, like when the Justice League showed up in the form of the Squadron Supreme, and they basically did Heroes Reborn, where the Justice League take over. But the problem is, and I've heard people, the main criticism I heard about it is that it became too much like, quick, make it look like the MCU. Because then Captain America had like the military outfit, and then slowly he would look like MCU Cap. Iron Man would look like MCU Iron Man. Although there was this cool interaction with Captain Marvel and Captain America. She would go, "Hey, what's up, Army?" And then he would go, "What's up, Air Force?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's great. I love that." But so, yes, it was it was basically a continuation of Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I know, it's a shock, isn't it? It's okay as on its own. And yeah, Kirby has a good point. It's okay on its own. As a follow-up to Earth's Mightiest Heroes, it is a downgrade. 110%. It is 110% a downgrade. And in terms of the X-Men anime, I really dug that. I really liked that one. Ultimate Spider-Man was... Spectacular Spider-Man was good.
There's been so
many Ultimate was too meta. Way too meta.
Well, he also became chibi in a few of the shows, and I'm like, no, that's stupid.
Did you watch the one on MTV in the early 2000s that was a quasi-continuation of the Raimi films?
No, I didn't.
That is a travesty. That very show is a travesty.
Really? That bad?
Good. It's good.
All right, JJheat, how is it bad?
First of all, the animation was experimental, let me say that. Then they pretty much kill off MJ by the first DVD release. The finale, the cardinal sin of this series is the finale.
Which is?
Look up the finale on YouTube. It'll completely disillusion you as a Spider-Man fan by the end.
To be fair, the show is kind of a victim of not getting a continuation. It does. It basically the show is basically one of those ones where it's like, oh, cool, I really like it. Oh, here's the end. Oh, that's a really good ending. Let's go to season 2. Wait, there's no season 2? Oh my god, the travesty. Did the same thing to Tron Evolution.
Now, there's one show that I think could be really successful with Marvel that it's a gamble, but I think it could really work. Now, I have 3 words for you. Squadron Supreme Unlimited.
No.
I'm telling you, I think it could work.
As a parody, maybe.
All right, I'm changing the subject. Did any of you guys watch the X-Men anime?
Yes, I did. The X-Men anime, that was a good one. I love that one. That was Emma Frost, baby. Everything she's in turns to diamonds.
Okay, can I just say, I would really like a Moon Knight anime. That would be so good.
Okay, you know what? Of the characters that they could do an anime for, yeah, that would actually work really well.
Or like a Ghost Rider anime.
Oh, no, watch. I have another idea for an anime series called Moon Knight the Animated Series, and basically think of BTAS, but that.
So you want Bruce
Cameron
to do
Bailey
it?
says I actually
no.
Oh, Monkey Paw.
Spider-Man Unlimited. Oh yeah. Okay, Cameron says I actually liked Ultimate Spider-Man, but you can't tell me those writers are trying to copy Young Justice. I'm not the only one who thought that. Yeah, they look, because with the minute, like, even did Spider-Man Web Warriors, where Spider-Man had his own team of characters that were very much Young Justice rip-offs.
Yeah.
And then we also had Spider-Man Unlimited, where he went to like counter Earth to chase after Venom and Carnage, who were teaming up for some reason, and he got like the weird nanotech suit, and he encountered like people with like the body parts of animals, and I'm like,
the problem with that show, it was such a tonal whiplash. Like, he was all cheerful and whatnot, yet it was a very like dystopian kind of thing.
Batman Beyond was better. Excuse me.
I mean, Batman Beyond is the greatest animated superhero show of all time, but we're not talking about these.
No, it's not. It's BTAS. BTAS is the best. Or S-TAS.
It's okay. You can be wrong, Jared. You can be wrong.
BTAS is too edgy.
Don't you say that.
BTAS is too edgy and the suit's weird. I'm trying to enrage Nick right now.
I will buy you a golden retriever.
I don't like dogs, so there you go.
Exactly.
We have to bring it up. Spider-Man 2019. Wait, what?
Wait, wrong title. All right, Cameron Bailey, we'll give you time to clarify that.
Yeah, go ahead. But yeah, that Spider-Man show, I feel like that Spider-Man show was trying to be Batman Beyond, but for Spider-Man. Except it failed badly doing that. Oh, yeah, Spider-Man 2017 also wasn't good, sadly, and did Superior Spider-Man shocking
I forgot they did a Superior Spider-Man adaptation. That went on for like 10 episodes.
If we're talking about animated Spider-Man, we do have to mention Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, we have to.
I thought we were talking about animated shows, though.
I mean we might as well. Someone's going to ask in the comments.
We haven't talked about movies, so.
Okay. Yeah, Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah, it was. That's what I think saved Miles as a character, is that movie particularly. Because Miles was not grabbing on in terms of the comics. That's the thing about He Must Not Be Named. He creates all these characters so his African-American daughters can have like characters that look like them and they can look up to them. The problem is when he writes them poorly.
Yeah, the problem, like, for example, Riri, like, basically baiting her teacher into saying she can't do something just so she has a reason to prove them wrong. It's such bad writing.
Well, that's just him at that period in his writing ability. But
believe me, He Shall Not Be Named definitely had inspiration when he came up with Ironheart.
Yeah.
It took many tissues, but he finally was able to get it done.
Best joke of the night. We're gonna get to a lot of times, but best joke of the night.
Nick, you get comment of the night. I'm gonna give it to you. That was a fantastic one.
Also, I wrote that line very hard.
Okay, stop before we get to monetize. But that was really good, Nick. Well done, sir. But
you're red in the face like Bendis.
Anyway, going back to this. Where were we before that? Oh God. It's because the thing about it is that if that movie had not come out, Miles would not be any bit as iconic as he is today. 100% certain.
It canonized Miles.
Yeah, because otherwise, when Hickman did Secret Wars, they would not have kept him in continuity. They would have found some way to depower him and said, okay, he goes off and does his own thing. But because of that, because of giving and here's the thing, they gave Miles an origin, a Spider-Man origin that's similar enough so it's a Spider-Man origin, but different enough that he still stands as his own character.
Yeah, and what I really liked about Into the Spider-Verse was very much they literally say it, don't be my Spider-Man, be your Spider-Man.
Yeah, they're essentially telling him you don't have to be Peter, but I do have the art book, by the way. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, be your own, do your own thing. And I think, besides just being a great message for kids of any color, I thought it was an important message for a character like Miles. Because Miles, in my opinion, is defined by individuality and self-expression. That, to me, that's kind of a core facet of his character. And a theme like that for a Miles Spider-Man movie is almost essential.
Yeah, and I also really liked all the onomatopoeias and comic book imagery in the movie to the point where it literally felt like you were watching a comic book.
It always fits, eventually.
Yeah, Stanley, I love that.
Affects the comics more than anything else. Sorry, I hate to cut you off.
What?
But I feel like the main thing that holds Miles Morales back is the fact they won't let him grow up. Now, either you could boost Miles Morales one of two ways. Either have him rebrand and do his own thing with another spider theme.
Like Kid Arachnid?
Possibly. Or break him out of that sidekick mold. Maybe give him his own city. Maybe have, at least with Spider-Man PS5, they at least did it to where Peter would take a relative step back so he and MJ could reassess their relationship, find a work-life balance, and Miles would be doing the forefront. Peter's not retiring. He's just taking a step back. At least that would be a good first step in the right direction. Whereas...
Sorry, guys. Finish.
No, okay.
No, JJheat, are you done?
Basically, what I was saying is that as is, Miles is just stagnant. Is always going to be in Peter's shadow. Continue, Nick.
See, my problem with Miles is he's stuck in this gray goo zone where he's not a sidekick, but he's not Spider-Man. They insist on calling him Spider-Man, but he's not Spider-Man.
Even though the merch does not label him as Spider-Man. That's the funny thing.
So, they could make him the Robin just to Peter's Batman. That could work. Or they could go the Gwen Stacy route. Because, look at what they've done with Gwen Stacy. They've called her Ghost Spider. She's her own character now. And it works. I think, Ghost Spider is probably one of the best characters to come out of the Spider-Verse. They found a place for Gwen Stacy. And I think that's great.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing is that's the other character this movie really helped is Spider-Gwen, because before she was an LOL meme character or a variation of Gwen Stacy that showed up in there. But then it's all of this really made her more iconic, I think, as a Spider-Man variant.
Fun fact, if you ever notice in the Spider-Verse movies, Gwen refers to herself as Spider-Woman.
Oh yeah, Spider-Woman. Yeah, exactly. Now,
I think Ghost Spider works better for her, though.
Ghost Spider definitely looks better. Now, let's talk about that sequel. I like the sequel. My problem with it is that it went too hard into the Spider-Man memes, where everyone's doing the pointing thing.
Yeah, that's way overdone. But also the fact that like the reason why Into the Spider-Verse worked is they limited it to essentially 5 characters. And even then, it was essentially a 3-person show. Like you had Miles, Peter B. Parker, and Gwen were kind of the main characters, and the other 3 were more side characters. Supporting, they were there, but they weren't really important to the plot. Then you have like dozens of characters, that you had to worry about, and it just came a little bit too much. The scale was too big. I think Miguel as a villain was good and fine. I liked the idea of like the spider was meant to bite a different Miles. Like also like the Miles that we know was kind of meant to be the Prowler. One thing that was pointed out is when he met Peter in the first movie, his spider sense colors goes from Prowler colors to Spider-Man colors when he meets Peter A. Parker.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting.
He was obviously going to apprentice as a Prowler under his uncle. That's clearly where it's heading. And we see that in the other universe, the Miles that was supposed to get bitten, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So and that's the way that worked really well. But the other thing, by the way, so let me tell you the story. So I was on Twitter and I happened to see a Dan Slott tweet where he said, so he was addressing the whole Spider-Man can't be married to Mary Jane Watson and all that stuff. And he goes, it's fine if like Peter B. Parker is married to MJ and stuff, but I think 616 Peter is better off the way he is. So I tweeted, did you know that in the movie they literally call Peter B. Parker the Earth 616 Spider-Man?
Well, also, it's very clearly they're kind of signaling that it's the Raimi Spider-Man. Because I think originally, the original plan was to have Tobey Maguire come back. And it was supposed to be the Raimi one. But when he backed out, they're like, oh, we'd still use the imagery.
Well, yeah. It's very clearly the Raimi Spider-Man because when you see him, it's pretty much they're doing all the scenes from the Raimi movie.
Pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But on that, but all in all, let me ask you guys this before we wrap up. What's like your favorite piece of Marvel animation ever? Mine is Ultimate Avengers 1.
S-TAS.
Okay, Spider-Man, that's good. And JJheat said Planet Hulk, which is basically Gladiator.
It's close. Granted, these are all great shows.
Mm-hmm. But let me ask you this real quick. Yes, Nick. Well, let me tell you one thing. Let me ask you guys one quick question before we start a wrap up. Why do you think that DC has more of the animated legacy than Marvel does? Because Marvel has created like a lot of great animated content, but DC is the one that's known for animation. And yes, I am turning this into a DC is better than Marvel discussion.
Well, in my opinion, I think you answered your own question right there. Because DC has the history with animation. And also, they have a long history with television. DC's television goes all the way back to the 50s. Yes, Marvel has had television. They had the Hulk run, and that was a good TV show. But Marvel never has had a strong presence on television, even to this day. Like, the closest you have is the Disney Plus stuff. But that doesn't really count, in my opinion. So I'm just going to say Marvel has never had a strong presence on TV, whereas DC has had it on multiple points in the last 50 years. You had the 2000s where you had stuff like Smallville, and then 2010s, so stuff like Arrowverse. Obviously, you had the DCAU. And then, like, take the direct-to-DVD movies. Marvel started it with, like, Ultimate Avengers, but then DC took that gauntlet and ran with it. Marvel still put out a few here and there, but by the time, like, the 2010s rolled around, they largely stopped the animation stuff, whereas DC, by 2010, was putting out, like, 3 to 5 new DVDs a year of movies, and it was great content.
Yeah, and Kirby, I'll disagree with you that Marvel does not have well-known heroes they could do. They have Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Arguably, like, the most well-known superhero short of Batman.
Yeah, Spider-Man is the exception, to where he has had a near constant presence in animation going back to the 60s. Like, there has been, like for example, in the 70s and 80s, you had Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. That was a really big Spider-Man cartoon in the back then, or even like the Spider-Man live action series in the 70s. So Spider-Man has had a strong presence.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them,
I would love a Spider-Man show where it's about people he can't stand. So it's like Spider-Man and his annoyances.
Oh, hey, Parker! I want you to meet this new reporter I hired. She just got fired from the Daily Planet. Parker, I want you to meet Lois Lane.
And then he calls her Lois Lane by accident, and that becomes like a headline.
No, Peter says, well, that's lame.
Yeah, exactly. And he goes, not you too! Why did he... Byron, did you see that in the recent Superman comic, they basically imply that Lois only got her Pulitzer because she was covering Superman when she was dating him? So...
Wait, can you repeat that?
So, in the recent episodes... So, in like one of the backups for Superman, they were doing like this storyline where Lois essentially put Clark on a different like beat as a reporter because she felt he was too close to a story. And then everyone's like, hey, wait a second, a-hole. You covered Superman when you were dating him. So they basically have Superman say, basically as a joke, as like playful flirting, that she wouldn't have gotten her Pulitzer if he wasn't Superman.
I mean, it's true. I mean, there's no lie there.
So it shows that she's even a crappy reporter because because it's kind of funny. People say, oh, she's like the best reporter in all DC, really, because she only got her Pulitzer for her stories covering Superman, a guy that she was dating, and obviously could say, hey, Clark, can I ask you a couple of questions and stuff?
Talk about pillow talk.
Yeah, I know. So she's unethical. But there you go on that. But anyway,
no, so now she's not only is she lame, she's unethical.
Yes, exactly. So I think it's a good place to wrap it up. So now I just want to bring this up. So Nick launched a comic book day.
Oh yes, and it is doing quite well.
So I'll drop the link in the chat, but Nick, tell us a little bit about this while I put the link in the chat.
All right, and then if you want to share that, feel free.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, so it's that time again, fellas. We are doing Screecher for the third time in a row, and oh my freaking god, you guys have been really great. We are already
third funded. Wow.
Yeah, $500 in a day is no mean. 16 backers. We're doing this, guys. We got this. I am so happy for us all. Yeah, Jared's got his copy, so
so the link is right here in the chat. So go ahead and pick up a copy. But yeah, so we'll talk about that, and obviously he'll be promoting this throughout the time until the campaign closes, because that's one of the fun things I do. I let people self promo.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but so quickly go through all the perks.
Well, the perks. First off, you get an amazing comic, but $5 is the digital tier. You get a digital copy of the comic. $20, you get a physical copy of the comic and a digital copy. There's the main cover, and we got the. Let me just kind of scroll down. This is the main cover. JJheat, does this look familiar to you?
Nice.
And then here is the alt cover. Jared, does this remind you of anything?
I don't know. I have to be a detective in order to find that.
Yeah, you have to be a 27-year-old detective to
Yeah,
figure it out.
exactly.
No, for that one variant, the Akira reference, nice touch.
Yes, I have been wanting to do that one ever since issue 1. So, $30 gets you goodie bag, which gets you issue 1, and then a set of stickers and cards. $50 is a catch-up tier where you get physical prints of issues 1 through 3, as well as the physical books of issue 1 through 3. So, if you're new to the series, this is the best one. And then for $100, you have the special collector's edition, which gets you the Talon edition, which is like a spot foil. It's a limited edition. You get your name in the back. It's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all good. So, in terms of YouTube, where can we find you, and what have you got coming on your channel?
All right. So tomorrow I will be streaming some BioShock. Would you kindly check me out tomorrow? On Monday we got Comics Watch. We're reviewing Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 1, the recent version of it. Just gonna make sure people get that. And then got a lot more planned throughout the week.
How about you, JJheat?
As for me, you can find me at JJheat75 or JJheat Blaze on YouTube or Twitter/X. We are currently at 286 subscribers, and I just finished recording my reaction to the Velma Halloween special. If you want me to watch the show itself, because I've never actually seen the show, if you actually want me to watch Velma itself, you'll have to get me to 300 before the end of the year. But with all that being said, I am truly blessed and honored by my fellow co-hosts and collaborators, as well as all of you for getting me this far. And it is a stream honor, and I would like to continue to working with you guys. So thank you.
Hell yeah. So in terms of Comics League, we're not doing movie night tomorrow purely because Twilight was not on streaming, and I'm not paying or pirating it because it's not worth the effort. So we're going to do Wonder Woman 1984 next week. I will say Britt and I are going to be recording Super Wonder at least, and it'll go up on Monday, where we're going to be talking about the shared cultural the shared backgrounds of Superman and Wonder Woman and how it makes them compatible and stuff. But I think that's a good place to wrap this little baby in a bow. So stay heroic, everyone. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane, she's unethical. She belongs with General Zod. So is the Max about for life. See you later. Bye-bye.